others to fame is managing. Managing is when you have authority thrust upon you because of a role. You're the manager. That's what you're hired to do. Leading is when others choose to follow you. All right? Good ideas and good intent are not enough. You have to be able to communicate that in ways that inspire others to follow. So leaders can only lead if they can communicate effectively. They need to offer something to others. That is the language of leadership. And I want you to think now for a moment, what is your language of leadership? Are you strong and authoritative? Are you kind and compassionate? What is your way of speaking? Are you nervous and shy? Are you happy? If you could define this language of leadership, would you be happy with it? Are you satisfied with how you're communicating? So please think about all of that, and let's see if we can develop a language of leadership for you in the next 2 hours. All right. There are two parts to effective online communication. One is making sure that the setup is good. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the setup. And that includes the computer and things, but also just you and how you're showing up. And then we're going to talk about the execution after the break. Okay. So let's think about the basics of setup. We should all know this by now, but unfortunately we don't because we see these issues all of the time. And I want you to think about the impact. If you're going to be speaking, what is the impact of some of the things you're seeing on this screen? So please type in for me, what are some of the problems that you're seeing in this particular setup? Some of them are pretty obvious, but what do you see in there? So we've got the videos are on, not in the center of the frame, not everyone is there, people are on their phones, can't see people, too many people, bad lighting, several off camera, not looking engaged, not interested, everyone should be on the camera or not, dark background, obvious distractions. Okay, not listening attentively, lighting, distracted or bored. Some of the frames are blacked out, not focused. Fantastic. That's exactly what I'm seeing. Distractions, videos off, busy backgrounds, right? Now think about, well, ZM just said it. What does this mean for you as a speaker? My goodness. And I have to face this. When I'm teaching with O'Reilly, I don't get to see your faces. And that's a real disadvantage. Let's talk about that for a minute. What a disadvantage for me, because I'm not getting the kind of feedback that I need to know if I'm having an impact. I love to be able to see people. When I do teach and I have that Zoom set up, for a speaker, when people are obviously not paying attention, they put their thing on mute and then they're taking a phone call. When the screen is blacked out, I don't know if they're there or not. Now, how am I going to engage with people when I don't even know they're there? So I'll have their name at the bottom and I'll say, Samantha, blah, blah, blah. And then Samantha doesn't get back to me. So I only tend to talk to the people who have their cameras on. And then you get feedback saying, well, I don't feel like you engaged with everyone. Very difficult to do. So we want to really think about, as an audience member on Zoom, because we all take our turns speaking, what would make you the most engaging presenter, speaker, communicator that you could be? I don't think it would be this. And then you need to give what you want to take. All right? So some of the things, and I think you got them all. The camera angles. I bought this computer that I'm working on now prior to COVID, and I am looking at the camera right now, and it is down the bottom of the screen, and when I look at that camera, I can see nothing that is on my screen. So you'll see me looking up a lot because I'm looking at the slides in the chat, but I'm not looking directly at the camera. I would never buy a computer like this again because the angle's all wrong. Lighting. That backlight's a terrible thing, and a lot of people have their window behind them, and then you only get a silhouette of their head. Hair and makeup. Well, should we make a little bit of an effort? At least from the waist up? I think so. The background. You don't have to have the perfect background, but at least consider it. Clothing, I think get dressed the way you would for work. Again, from the waist up. Or I said that, did I? Audio. Make sure your audio is okay. And that's a challenge. We come on at O'Reilly early just to check audio. All right, so that's all the setup stuff. Pretty simple. We should all know that by now, right? I'll tell you what's even more important. Get all this right. And this, you know what, this is important because it impacts the speaker's ability to connect. And someone said up here, who said it? People look distracted and they look bored, right? Quite a few people said it. My goodness, that is a hard thing to speak to. All right, now let's talk about you when you're presenting. There's a few things that are, I'm going to talk about them. People follow people, not ideas. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean when I say people follow people, not ideas? Well, there's research to back this up. If you have a good idea and it's poorly presented, people will not think that the idea is good as it is. The same idea presented well rates higher, not just in impact, but the quality of the idea. The same is true in reverse. A poor idea presented well will get higher scores on quality than a poor idea presented poorly. So people follow people more than they follow ideas. If your presence doesn't make an impact, your absence won't make a difference, right? You need to show up. You need to bring it. Even when you're online and there's a tendency to be a bit slack, and I'm going to say you need to bring it even when you're listening, right? What is your presence? What are you doing in relation to showing up in a way that's positive and energetic? Here's the thing about energy. Energy meets energy. So if I'm coming in super enthusiastic and happy and excited to be here, which I am today, I really love teaching communication. My background is more in research, but it leads into research communication. It brings you up a little bit. So what energy are you bringing, even on Zoom? Right? What are you bringing? I know I often run workshops, so I used to run workshops in person, and I'll be doing that again shortly. My first one, challenging, because all you have is facial expression. That's it, right? That's all you got. You don't have the ability to have body language and movement. You can't even really power dress. I mean, you can only see me from here up. So all I have is facial expression. So I want to ask you a question. I'm going to call this facial language instead of body language. It is extremely limited. I want to know, what is your resting Zoom face? What are you giving off when you're on your Zoom call? I would be so distracted if I was looking on Zoom and half the people had that look. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go home. Man, why am I even bothering? Here's another face. One, you'll know too much about me by the end of this workshop, but here's one I am guilty of. This is a me face. That's the face when you've been at a meeting and you are trying to look like you're paying attention, but you're not. And then all of a sudden you hear your name and you're like, you have no idea what was said for the last 10 minutes, but now you've been asked to engage with it. So that's not a great face either. So let's look at the positive face. And you don't see this one from Stanley very often. That's Stanley's interested face. All right. So what messages are we giving to the speaker here? What are the messages that are coming through? How important is it? How important is it? I think it makes a massive difference. The more positive we can be, the better. All right. O'Reilly always likes a little bit of a pulse check just to see how we're going. So I'm going to put that up there. I'm going to end that pulse check and send you out another one. I want to know if you consider yourself a nervous presenter. So answer this pulse check. The other one, I got a sense everyone seems to be doing all right. But are you a nervous presenter? You can type in, we can have a little chat about it, but also just to hit that thumb in the spotlight, put them on the spot, and they kind of fall apart and become quite nervous. So that's what we want to think about. How can we combat that kind of nervousness? All right, here's what I'm going to tell you. I can't help you get rid of your nerves. Your nerves are yours. They can be a good thing. They can mean that you're going to put the effort in and that you need to gear yourself up. Nerves aren't a bad thing. What is bad about nerves is when you decide to lead with them. All I'm going to do is focus on my nerves. That's all I can think about. I can't get anything out but my nerves. I have been teaching for a very long time. And I will meet students and they'll present and they will be terrible and nervous. Then I get to know them. And I realize they have amazing personalities and so much going on, and they're so interesting. But all they're showing me is their nerves. So the trick, if you're a nervous presenter, is not so much to get rid of the nerves as much as, well, let's show something else in addition to the nerves. Let's see if we can supersede the nerves. All right. So there is a video, a TED Talk, if you're familiar with them, by Amy Cuddy. If you get a chance, have a look at it. But what Amy Cuddy talks about is that nonverbals, right? Like your facial expression, what you're wearing, they influence what other people think about us. They see me speaking confidently. They think I'm confident. They think my message is good. They see me nervous and shy and shaking, and they're going to have other thoughts. Here's the thing. Non-verbals also influence what we think about ourselves. So when I am feeling, when I'm showing nerves, I'm going to feel nervous. And as TM says, fear then kicks in. So we really want to think about almost like there's a triple threat. What messages are you sending others with your body language? What message are they receiving? And what are you sending yourself? I have had people speak for me, and on the way up from their desk to the podium, they say, oh God, I really don't want to do this. I'm really not very good at this. Be patient with me. I'm not very good. How is that going to put you in the zone to speak well? How's it going to do that? It's absolutely not. You're giving a message to others that I am nervous. What are they receiving? You're not confident. What are you receiving? I suck at this. I don't want to do it. So we need to change that. So what Amy Cuddy did was she had people, before they speak, she had them flick a little stick to test their hormones. And then she had them engage in a power pose. Just 2 minutes of power posing. Get your Beyonce pose, your Pierce Bronson at the table pose. And after 2 minutes of power posing, they tested for those hormones again. And here's what happened. Testosterone went up by 20%. 20% testosterone. Ugh. Cortisol, which is your stress hormone, went down by 25%. Right? Wouldn't that be awesome? And can we do that just by standing there? Why, yes, look at you finding the links. Thank you. You guys should copy that into your browser to look at later. There is, in New Zealand, a tradition called the haka from the Maori people. So I lived in Australia for 28 years. I still work in Australia and New Zealand extensively, almost exclusively, except for what I do for O'Reilly. And a haka is a word that just gears you up, right? There are the All Blacks are a rugby team. They do the haka before every game. And I'm sure some of you, have you guys ever seen a haka? BB, I'm glad you're power posing right now. You go. Has anyone ever seen a haka? If you have, you'll know it. Man, it's intimidating. Look up the wedding haka. It will, look, I'd be surprised if it doesn't move you to tears. It is so powerful, right? For those of you who've seen it, you're like, yeah, it is awesome. I don't know if I'm allowed to put YS on the job of sending us a link, but sometimes I just think of these things as I'm going. But if you can watch one, the wedding haka, the All Blacks, it is awesome. Now, you watch them and you think, you know what? I'm feeling geared up. How are they doing? They're going to feel it, right? That you can feel the testosterone. As a woman, my testosterone goes up just by watching it. All sports teams do it to some extent, whether they're cheering at the beginning, giving a, hands in the middle, right? Okay, here's the thing. The opposite is also true. Two minutes in a low power pose, right? So you're like, oh no, I'm next. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. You freak yourself out. You sabotage your own neurological systems, your own hormonal systems. Your testosterone decreases by 10%, and cortisol, the stress hormone, goes up by 15%. You are about to make yourself a nervous wreck. Does this happen? Oh, my goodness. It is so easy to do. I was once teaching some undergrads, and they did some presenting one week. They did half the presenting. Doesn't work for me. Standing there in the bathroom going like this with my power pose, and I just felt self-conscious, right? That's all right. I found something else that works for me. I love music. So for me, listening to my jams puts me in the space. If you're listening, I like a little bit of funk. So I'm listening to Bruno Mars or some old Jackson 5 or whatever. It's hard to be in a bad space. Get yourself out of your funk. How do you want to do it? I once was teaching someone, and they said they put a lucky penny in their shoe, and every time they stepped down, it gave them confidence. It was given to them by someone special. Another guy that I taught had, he was an MMA fighter, and in his dojo, every time they walked through a door, shoulders back, chin up, had to pretend they were biting a bridle and bit, right? And so before he had to present, I told everyone, prepare your presentation and don't forget to put yourself in your zone. He walked in and out of the door 10 times. Everyone else is ignoring me and just thinking, what's the next thing I need to say? He got up and walked into the door, and when he came in, man, he was struck. He was ready. So whether it's music, whether it's watching a couple of stupid things on TikTok, whether it's doing your power pose, don't let yourself sit in the funk. Get yourself out of it. I am not a nervous presenter. I am not. Except I've been in a rock band for the last 3 years. I play the keys, and now I've started to sing. And, oh my, brain fog, you don't have the ability to think your way out of anything. All right? So, what did I need to do? Well, you guys have a lot of the answers down already, right? Music, breathing, stretching, thanks FD, dressing your favorite things from the skin out. Ooh, you go. Absolutely. I don't feel it. Jumping up and down and shaking on my arms, legs, deep breaths. Absolutely. Find your thing. Just get it out. And so the first time we had a big show, I think to be honest, maybe my drummer gave me a little bit of alcohol. But other than, or this is practice. It's practice with my band. Took me a while even to sing in front of the band before I got nervous. But I take this with me. I'm going to take the weather with me. And when I could concentrate on just thinking, you know what? I sing my best when I'm with my people. I'm just going to pretend you're all my people. What great advice for public speaking. Being on Zoom, I'm going to pretend you're my people. Just pretend. I'm not going to do any worse. Probably do a lot better. So I want you to think about what I call your interrupter. What is your interrupter? Is it power posing? Is it a lot of you are talking about breathing? All right. How you dress, listening to music, jumping up and down, going for a walk, meditation, awesome. Aromatherapy, whatever it might be. I have a candle here, and I was sad because I forgot to light it before you guys came in. I'll do it at the break. It is a Christmas tree farm. That's my jam for my aromatherapy. Makes me feel relaxed. So, I like JL's suggestion. Have a photo in the eye line that brings a smile. Perfect. Perfect. Take the weather with you, right? And just realize, why not do something different? Why not pretend the audience is your people? Why not smell the candle? Why not say the prayer? All right? Going over your slides or your presentation for the 27th time isn't going to really make the difference, is it? All right. A couple of you talked about recording yourselves. I want you to be prepared for that if you've never done it. Just the sound of your own voice is going to throw you. You don't, in your own ears, you don't sound like what everyone else hears. And when you record yourself, you get to hear what everyone else hears. I got used to that. I tend to be recorded a lot. I do a lot of video work, and my speaking voice is all right. Unfortunately, it didn't translate to a very good singing voice, and I had to learn how to do that. And part of the way I had to learn to do that was to record myself and listen back and see where my intonation, particularly of my vowels and consonants at the end of words, was not working for me as a singer. Oh my Lord. I can't even tell you how horrific it was. I could barely get used to my own voice in my own ears, let alone on the outside. Now I am used to it. I am used to it. And the only way I can improve anything in my life is awareness of what needs to be improved. So fight through it, right? Fight through it. If you have the ability to record, and a lot of Zoom calls are record, have a listen. And be prepared that it's going to be weird. All right? Breathing is important. AO, yes. Aromatherapy. Where are we? Prayer. I went backward. Pretend to be Clint Eastwood. I haven't heard that one, but all right. I sound like my brother. Very strange to hear his voice from my mouth. I did one of those, what would I look like if I was a male? And oh my goodness, if I did not look exactly like my brother. I actually sent it to him. I did 2 different photos, and I was 100% Patrick. All right. This is actually pretty simple stuff to do, you know, to just be able to interrupt the crazy self-sabotaging thought processes in the head. Breakthrough. All right. I'll put up this little Q&A slide. Does anyone have any Q&A? See how you're waiting to see what I say? Mm-hmm. You can cause suspense. You can give people time to catch up. Time for you to catch up. Pausing is incredibly valuable. Do you ever listen to anything? Who's a good pauser? Nelson Mandela. He uses a pause like nobody's business. Gets people just hanging on his every word. All right. The other thing that you guys are talking about here is words like, you know, right? Okay. Again, record yourself and then you can hear those. We're going to talk a little bit about language later. And there's some interesting things I think we can try to avoid saying. All right. Thanks, Ayo. Let's move on to something different. Forget how you made them feel. So I want you to think about the best boss you ever had. You might remember a couple things I said, but I bet you it's the feeling of being valued, of being appreciated. Now think about the worst boss you ever had. Yeah, you might remember a couple of things, but I bet you it's even bigger. The feelings of disempowerment, the feelings of being taken advantage of, feelings of being unappreciated, sometimes the feelings of being harassed. So they may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That means your presence matters. Your presence matters. So, in my research, so I'm a researcher. Before I wrote my first book on presentation skills, I thought, let me see what makes for good. They tend to be outgoing. They tend to be funny, risk takers, authentic, animated, and overtly passionate. So I want to know how many of you would describe yourself in this way. So give me a thumbs up if you consider yourself to be someone with a big personality who's outgoing, funny, risk taker, authentic, animated, and overtly passionate. Or would you describe yourself in a different way? So thumbs up if that's you, thumbs daily. That's not me. All right. I've got about, so AV's saying that they can bring that out of them when their heart is in something. JL saying he's got 5 out of the 8. Big personality and passion says a positive way. It can be, absolutely, in the right, but you got to know your audience. We'll talk about that after the break. MS is introverted. Okay, MS, you're introverted, but I'm going to help you draw out even more stuff about yourself. When I'm prepared and informed and passionate, I try to be prepared, informed, and passionate when I present. Others can be improved. AV, introverted, but not when presenting. Well, you're lucky. Okay, AM, introvert and not funny. That's all right. We're drawing out some other things, AM. Undercover introvert. There are 2 me's. One is like you described here, and there's another which is the opposite. And this is one that I show when presenting something. All right, RC. All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to answer this question. What makes you a valued communicator? What is it? So when you're talking to your best friend, your parents, your child, your partner, what do they like about you? What is it that they value in you? Is it that you're adaptable, ambitious? Is it that you're warm, wise, and witty? Is it that you're original and quirky? Is it that you're reliable and responsible, imaginative, independent, modest, nice, powerful? And those words that you picked of introverted and who said that? Introverted and not funny. All right. Well, what's the positive? Give me something a bit more on the plus side. Is AV. No, who was it? AM. Positive ones. There we go. Hit me with them. What do we got? These words that I'm reading on the chat, and they're scrolling by so quickly, right? This is the foundation of your language of leadership. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. This is the foundation of your language of leadership. JL, your language of leadership is productive, introspective, and genuine. AM, hardworking. EL, sincere. SS, reliable. Very understanding. Enthusiastic. right? It's just looking for where these start. I love this. Okay, so SC, your language of leadership is passion and being animated. EL, your language of leadership is being empathetic. What an amazing skill to have. When you are truly empathetic, your employees are loyal. RW is honest and transparent. What a great set of leadership capacities that is. Curious. I like that as a language of leadership. Open-minded. Yes, I am. Thoughtful. Absolutely. JC, curious, relatable, compassionate, sincere, organized, and open-minded. Well, that sounds like leadership to me. Adaptable and flexible. MM, that's wonderful. Helpful, skilled, and proactive. Honest. We're in an area where we don't have a lot of trust. Isn't honesty a wonderful missing capacity in leadership? Warm, good listener, open-minded, trustworthy, good listener, engaging, reliable, good listener, easygoing, focused, and calm. Terrific set of characteristics, JL. Enthusiastic. Well, I've read some of these already. Calm, genuine, positive, hardworking, sincere, reliable, understanding. Sincere, genuine, results-oriented. I like that. Serious, competitive, good listener, responsible. High integrity, responsible, and patient. There you go, AM. That's what I'm looking for. High energy, curious and open-minded, patient, standing my ground, logical and making sense. There you go. There you go. Now, for those of you who hopefully you've all picked some of these traits, and you're a nervous presenter, instead of leading with nerves, how about we lead with some of this? If you're a nervous presenter, and you think, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I'm so nervous. I don't want to do this. I'm a nervous wreck. Why do I have to do this? If you're JW, you can say to yourself, you know what though? When I'm in my zone, man, I am logical and I make sense. Or as NA, I am skilled. I am unique and I am witty. So I can't get rid of my nerves, but maybe today I'm going to show some of my wit. I'm going to show that I am empathetic and open-minded and flexible. I'm going to show that I'm a good listener. I'm going to show that I'm results-oriented. I'm genuine. I am going to concentrate on these characteristics of myself, not just that I am introverted and shy and nervous and don't want to be here. So let's not try not to be nervous. Let's get in the zone, play your song, put your clothes on, get in your power pose, right? Get in the zone. Take that weather with you. But also, let's talk ourselves up and say, yeah, I might be nervous, but I'm also a damn good listener. I might be nervous, but I can still be engaging. I might be nervous, but I'm the most honest person in the room. I might be nervous, but I'm going to show them how adaptable and flexible I am, how much they can rely on me, how empathetic I am, how passionate I am about this work. Even though I'm introverted, I'm still passionate about it. How about I show that today? So, the foundation of your language of leadership. Hold on to that. Think about that. If I could give you some homework, it would be to discuss this with someone that you trust. And then trust in yourself and let this shine in your most nervous situations. All right. One more thing in the setup before we have a break and talk about the execution. And that is just the setup being the slide deck. Don't do slides that look this horrible, right? Lots and lots of words. Can't see a thing. We want things very simple. Simple and straightforward. Clear, easy to read. Make sure your messages are coming through. Don't have a lot of text, not too many bullet points. Make it simple. Make it clear. You should be the star of the show. You got all this new confidence. You're bringing out your language of leadership. Let the slides support you. They don't take your place. Right? And make it a bit engaging if you're having slides. I don't mind something silly in my presentation. If you're not listening, then you're not learning anything. So I like visuals. But use them judiciously. Charts, graphs, maps, illustrations. I like videos, photos, GIFs, and memes. And I think this is really good advice. Quit reading word for word off your PowerPoint slides. That would be great. Because you know what? Almost everyone you're presenting to can already read. If you have lots of words on your slide and you're reading them, that's insulting and they're going to get bored because they can read it 3 times as fast and they're not paying attention to you. Or you have all the words on the slide and you're talking about something else, then they're reading the slide and they're not paying attention. Or they're paying attention and they're not reading. Either way, it doesn't work. All right. I'm going to call a 10-minute break.